children. Now let's today start conclude with this chapter, Plant Kingdom. We have done Plant Kingdom. We did the various divisions in Plant Kingdoms. Let us hurriedly revise what are the various divisions of Plant Kingdom. The very first, children, Plant Kingdom. It is because in so much of detail you are not required. But the Plant Kingdom includes Thallophyta division. In Thallophyta, we studied algae. How many types of algae? Three types of algae. Chlorophyta, the green algae, then Phaeophyta, the brown algae, and Rhodophyta, the red colored algae. If you remember, I told you long time back when five kingdom classification was not there. At that time, fungi and lichens was also included in Thallophyta. The reason being the word thallus is derived from a Greek word thallus. Thallophyta is derived from a Greek word thallus meaning no root and shoot. But now with the advent of five kingdom classification, children, bacteria has gone into kingdom Monera. Fungi and lichens have gone into kingdom fungi. Now what is left is algae. Now this algae is called Thallophyta. Then second is Bryophyta, children. If you remember in Bryophyta, I taught you alternation of generations. There are two types of generations, Sporophyte and Gametophyte. They keep alternating with each other. And an example, Bryophytes, they are commonly called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Now, why are they called amphibians of the plant kingdom? The reason is because they live in water, on land, but need water for reproduction. And a very good example is moss. We studied about the moss. And if you remember, I told you moss is a gametophyte. Okay? And if you remember, again I am reiterating the same thing. Out of these two generations, only one generation is conspicuous and the other one is the parasite on the others. Then the third division that we did was pteridophytes. Now these are totally terrestrial plants, children. These are non-flowering plants. Even the ferns, they do not produce flowers. They are seedless plants, children. And an example of pteridophyta is fern, Bryopteris. We did the life cycle of Bryopteris. If you remember, fern, it also follows the same alternation of generation, but the only difference is that the fern plant that you can see, it is a sporophyte. Then we move over to the higher plants. The higher plants is gymnosperms. Now what is gymnosperm, children? Gymnosperms includes conifers. So they are seed plants that do not produce flowers. And if you remember, I told you that they produce naked seeds. What do you mean by naked seeds? Naked seed means that the seeds are there but there is no fruit. Why the fruit is not there? Because they don't have the ovary. So they produce naked ovules. You remember that? We did the life cycle of gymnosperms. In gymnosperm, children, if you remember, I told you that a pinus tree is a sporophyte. It produces the male cone and a female cone. The male cone is called microsporophyll. The female cone is called megasporophyll. Microsporophyll has microsporangia. Megasporophyll has megasporangia. Microsporangia is nothing but the pollen sac. Inside the pollen sac are present the microspore mother cells. These microspore mother cells undergo reductional division to form four microspores. The megasporangia has megaspore mother cell that undergoes reductional division to form archegonia. Here, on the other hand, the microspores, they form enteridial cell, which ultimately forms the male gamete. Archegonia has egg cell, both of them fuse to form zygote or spore that develops into the embryo, and this embryo develops into a pinus tree. So this all we did till last time. Hurriedly, I just touched it again the way I do it every time. Now let's start with the last division, that is angiosperms. Now children, angiosperms includes all the flowering plants. That means they have got proper flowers, and when they have got flowers, they bear the fruits also. So whether it is a vegetable or whether it is a fruit, whether it is tomato or ladyfinger or pumpkin, it is all of them. We call them as vegetables, but in scientific language, in biological language, all these are called the fruits. And if they are the fruits, then they are the fruit is there, then flowering plant is there. So all these plants, they are included in angiosperms. Now these angiosperm children, before discussing the characters of angiosperms, the angiosperms, they are divided into two broad categories, monocots and dicots. From the name you can make it out, monocot. Monocot means, mono means one, cot is word from derived from Greek word cotyledon. So it's a short form of cotyledon. Monocots have got one cotyledon, rice, wheat, maize. Dicot, di means two, cot means cotyledons. That means these are the seed plants which produce two cotyledon seeds. You must have seen when your mother prepares chole bhature, that the chola, the pea, it has got two cotyledons. Then gram, rajma, bean seeds, all these are dicot plants. So in angiosperm children only, it's a very small topic. We are supposed to learn only three main things. First is the general characters. Second is the difference between monocots and dicots. And the third is the three life cycle patterns that it has. So children, before starting with the next video, kindly open your book where angiosperms is given.